I can't stop this feeling deep inside of me. Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high on.
Hello and welcome to This Week in Sports for Monday, March 6, 2017. I'm Evan Lawani alongside Mike McClung. I'm like Ron Burgundy reading this prompter backwards right now. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm a little tired if you couldn't tell. But no, we haven't done a Twis in a long time, so I'm excited to get this show on the road. You're not feeling that well, got a little bit of a sore throat?
Yeah, I just want to apologize right up front for that, but we're going to push through the pain.
I can't believe I just read your name. Well, anyway, I'm Evan Lawani. This is Mike McClung. We're going to start by talking about a little bit of March Madness here. College basketball is coming up. Mike, what are you looking for? Any teams?
Well, it is March now, and honestly, just some of the teams at the top I think are going to be really good. I don't know. Obviously, upsets are going to happen, but it's tough to look right now when the field's not even out. But some teams I think they can make deep runs. Definitely Villanova. They have not only experience winning the championship a year ago, but still a lot of great players. Josh Hart being at the very front of that list. Kansas I really like with Josh Jackson stepping up. They're playing phenomenal right now. And then this is a cliche answer, but UCLA obviously with Lonzo Ball. He's the type of player to me that could come in and take over games in the tournament and really carry them, kind of like Kemba Walker did with UConn back in 2011.
Yeah, I think the big team to look out for right now is Gonzaga. They've had a pretty easy schedule, but I mean they have two guys who are 7 feet tall, and in college you have two guys that are 7 feet tall. It's kind of unfair because they can get rebounds, they can score almost at will. So I think they can make a pretty good push. I love my Duke Blue Devils. They play really bad against bad teams, but for some reason they play really good against good teams. So I mean they got a lot of players. It really depends if they're hot or cold. If they get in a hot streak, I think they can do something. North Carolina's been looking pretty good, so it's going to be like we said, there's going to be upsets. So it's who knows.
I agree with you with Gonzaga. We lost this weekend in rec just because we could not rebound the ball. We played a better game than that team. But Duke, I'm going to have to go the other way. To me, like you said, when you're losing and getting upset by bad teams, that's the perfect storm in a tournament where you're going to have to play 2 or 3 games against teams that are not as good as Duke. And when Duke's getting upset that often, this looks like one of the years for me where Duke could lose to a Mercer or something like that.
Like 2 years ago?
Like 2 years ago or whenever that was. But I agree with you on the rest with North Carolina, obviously playing really well. They easily could have won the championship last year. They look like they just retooled and they're ready to go again.
Yeah, and how do you feel about having like the bracketology, they call it, all throughout like the second half of that year? Do you like that idea?
With like the poll being released? Yeah. You don't really get that much from it, but just in general I like it just to see what is the committee value. And obviously you can look at years past, but with the changing committee, ranking teams differently every year, what are they going to value this year? And obviously you can't take into account conference championships, things like that. But you could see, who's hot is playing good right now. Maybe they get moved up a little bit, or who's got the overall better resume, or who schedules the best out-of-conference games. I like to see where the mind of the committee is because it makes it a little bit easier to predict at the end of the season what they're thinking. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. But, I mean, yes, I think it's great, but it also takes a little bit of surprise out of it. So I guess they don't give away too much, so I think it's a good idea. But really, it's just something that SportsCenter can do to get more viewers, I feel like.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? Talking about viewers, spring training, everyone's kind of trying to watch a little bit, see what's going on. Mike, local teams, Yankees, Mets, Phillies, anything has caught your eye so far?
You took the words right out of my mouth. The Yankees have been playing great right now. I think they only lost 1 or 2 games so far. They've been killing the ball at the plate. Gleyber Torres, tough name to pronounce, even tougher when you're a little bit under the weather, but he's been doing great. Some of the pitchers we didn't necessarily expect out of them to play well have done good so far. That's really the downfall of this Yankees team. What we thought was going to be anyway is that pitching staff, but they've played pretty well so far. I think if the Yankees could keep this up, obviously it's only spring training. There's a lot of minor leaguers in there for them and other teams as well. But, they got the bunch of young guys that are coming up, and maybe they're finally starting to make that jump and be ready to play in the major leagues and compete.
Yeah, when I've been looking through all the scores of spring training, a lot of high-scoring games. I don't know if that's just because people are hitting really well, the pitchers aren't doing their job, it's still early, but a lot of high-scoring games right now kind of caught my eye. I know, the Mets have been in so many, 10 to 8 games. It's kind of crazy. Right now, I think for the Mets, it comes down to their pitching staff. They're all healthy, as they say, but, if one goes down, I wouldn't be surprised. It's really all about health for them. I think they can, do what they have to do at the plate with Bruce and Cespedes and all them, but I think it really just comes down to their pitching staff.
I think Harvey got rocked the other day, and they say he's healthy right now. But coming after their surgery, are you ever really going to be 100% healthy again? And that's something that scares me with them. I think they could be a good team, but until they get, like we had in the past with those 5 guys that they could just roll out on any given night, I don't know if they're going to be the team that made the World Series push a couple years ago.
Yeah, and like you said, the Yankees look great, and sadly, they just win so much. They lost a couple players, and they're still going to win a lot. And like last year, they brought up a lot of great players, and they're going to play well. And I think the Yankees are going to be a really good team this year.
How about a quick World Series pick? Very early, but
I think the Cubs are going to make it back. I say Cubs-Indians again. I love both of those teams. I really do.
The Indians really just got better.
Yeah, they didn't get worse. I don't understand how.
It's crazy how they do that. This hurts me to say because this is probably my least favorite team, just being a Diamondbacks fan, but I think the Dodgers are going to be really good this year. They're definitely a team to look out for, and probably in the AL, I'd go with the Indians. But to me, obviously, they have to go through the Cubs, and you got to figure whoever beats the Cubs in the playoffs is probably going to be the team that ends up in the World Series because the Cubs are just that good. I would go with the Dodgers right now. They got great pitching. Clayton Kershaw struggles in the playoffs here and there, but they've picked up some key bats, and they've retained a couple players as well. I think they're going to do big things this year.
Yeah, I think Yasiel Puig is up and down. If he can get his bat straightened out and his mind right, that guy is just a great player. He can hit a lot of home runs.
He hit a moonshot the other day and bat flipped in a spring training game, which is crazy.
Disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, John Ross sets the NFL Combine record, beating Chris Johnson with a 4.2240. That is fast.
That is so fast.
Wow.
Sorry to cut you off, but the one part I wanted to talk about, if Adidas offered a deal where if anybody wore their shoes for that and broke Chris Johnson's record, they would give them an island. And I don't know why they came up with an island, but that's what they decided. They decided if anybody's faster, they're just going to give them an island because they have one sitting around that they don't have anything to do with. But he wore Nike cleats and still broke the record, so he now does not get the island, which crazy to think about.
But he said, I don't want an island because I don't know how to swim and I don't have a boat. That's what he said. Right. I would like an island, personally.
He doesn't have to, he can sell the island. There's a lot of things you could do with an island.
I don't even know what you could do with an island, but you could.
What could you not do?
I guess so.
The possibilities are just endless.
Yeah, but he wore Nike, and that guy's rich already. So he's fast, so now he's just filthy rich. And they said his draft stock went up so much, he's projected in the top 15, which I don't know if I agree with that, because just because he runs fast, I don't know, do you think he deserves that boost?
That's the thing with the Combine I don't necessarily get. You knew he was fast coming into it, and now he's really fast coming out of it. Is that really enough to make him, I don't know where he projected originally, maybe second round, is that enough to boost him into the top 15? I don't think so. It's nice to get a look at some of these players that maybe we haven't seen that much, but when guys are coming in and bench pressing however many times, who really cares? We knew these were strong guys. It's more important to me what they do in college against the competition on the playing field.
Yeah, he was fast in college. He's going to be fast in the NFL, but I think he's going to be almost like a Tavon Austin. Wow, he's fast, but Tavon Austin really didn't pan out. Maybe a year or two of just good kick returns. Who knows? Hopefully he pans out. They're talking like he's the next Brandon Cooks or whatever. I guess we'll have to see.
I think so too. Brandon Cook's looking for a trade, by the way.
I know. All right, real quick. Patriots might get Brandon Marshall and Brandon Cooks. That would just be unfair.
And then they're going to cancel the season because
Patriots win.
Because Tom Brady.
TB12 is just going to do ridiculous things. And we didn't really touch on the Super Bowl, but what a Super Bowl.
Oh my gosh, crazy.
That's it. It's just wow.
It's a game I'll never forget.
Yeah, no, neither will I. Well, speaking of crazy games, if we look in the NBA, there's some crazy games everywhere. Harden's dropping 40 points. Westbrook's dropping 40. Kawhi Leonard's just doing ridiculous things. Do you have someone who sticks out to you for MVP?
I love Kawhi Leonard so much. He's one of my favorite players. He doesn't get the recognition that these other guys get. And, these other guys deserve it as well, obviously. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But what Kawhi does on the defensive end every night, and then now he's turned himself into an offensive player that can shoot threes, mid-range jump shot, also has an inside game. He's one of the most complete players in the league other than LeBron to me right now. And I think for that reason, I would probably give him the MVP. You look at guys like Westbrook, he doesn't have that much help on his team, but you got to figure the Thunder are still fighting for that 4 or 5 seed. The Spurs only had one All-Star in Kawhi Leonard. All the other guys are old, and LaMarcus Aldridge is having a little bit of a down season. And the Spurs are still in the number 2 spot and challenging the Warriors for that one. That's just crazy to me. And Harden, obviously, is giving a big boost to the Rockets, but they're still not where the Spurs are as well. They're in the 3 seed. That's still pretty good.
Yeah.
Like I said, these guys are all really good. But to me, I'm giving the edge to Kawhi.
I like Durant right now. I don't know why. I just think Westbrook is just doing too much for his team, and I don't know, I feel like there's so much pressure on him right now. And
he does turn it over a ton.
He turns it over a ton, and frankly, they're not winning enough for him to get the MVP, I think. I think Harden is really improving players around him, where Westbrook is improving himself, but not necessarily the players around him.
You said Durant before. Was that just... Did you not mean that?
No, I meant Harden.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Durant.
I saw Durant. I'm all messed up today. No, but Harden.
Durant's good too.
Durant's good too, and we'll get to him in a second. But I think Harden right now is doing things that are just, I don't know, unspeakable. I think that he's just helping that team win more than Westbrook is.
I would agree with you that he's my number 2 right now, but like I said, Kawhi Leonard. He's sneaking in there. He wasn't really in the talk earlier. I think he's starting to get himself into that conversation.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a close one. So now we're moving on to Durant. Durant got hurt his left or right MCL, and he's going to be out, I think, for the rest of the remaining of the regular season. How does that impact the Warriors?
Well, this is essentially the same Warriors team minus Harrison Barnes and, maybe Andrew Bogut or whatever that won 73 games last year. So I would like to say not that much because they still have 3 superstars on that team. But you look at them, and they're really not playing that well right now. They've lost 2 games since he's been out. They almost lost to the Knicks. If you come within 10 of the Knicks, you should just get a loss for that because that's not good. And they're just Steph Curry and Klay Thompson haven't been able to shoot the 3-ball, and that's the identity of this team. They live and die by that. So they're going to eventually figure it out, I think. Like we've seen, this is essentially a new team. They're learning how to play with just each other again and not Durant on the floor. And I think they're going to figure it out eventually. They're still probably going to get the 1 or 2 seed. And it's not going to be a big deal either way because they're going to get the Spurs in the conference finals almost no matter what, or the Rockets, I think. So I think they're going to figure it out and be okay for the playoffs.
I just think that when Durant comes back and they already figure it out, it might mess up some things. But like you said, they almost lost to the Knicks, and that's an issue.
That's bad.
Curry has been really cold except for the Knicks. He dropped 30, and
that even was only the second half.
Yeah, he really needed that because he's been cold lately. For him to break out of his slump a little bit, get him going, shooting the ball. He wasn't going to play because of a dental issue. So for him to man up, play that game, score 30, and squeak out a win against the Knicks, hopefully that will give him some momentum going forward.
Let me ask you this. When Durant comes back, we don't know what he's going to be. Are we giving the edge to the Cavs now?
I think so because right now the Warriors just look a little miscombobulated. And frankly, I don't know. I just think that if they can figure it out without Durant and then Durant comes back,
that changes things.
That changes things a lot again. And I mean, I don't know. Steve Kerr has a lot of things up his sleeves, but I can't go against LeBron.
It's hard to go against LeBron, but for me...
Especially because Kevin Love is playing so good right now as well.
Kevin Love is hurt. I'm sorry to do that to you, but Kevin Love is...
He hasn't been playing. You're telling me he hasn't been playing.
He hasn't played since the All-Star break.
That is crazy.
Wow. Okay. He was playing really well before that.
He was playing really well.
That's actually the reason that I would still give the edge to the Warriors because when the Cavs do not have Kevin Love, they have 2 superstars, and when the Warriors do not have Kevin Durant, they still have 3. When both of those guys come back, I'm still giving the edge to the Warriors because you can make the argument you don't know what Kevin Durant's going to be. Well, you don't know what Kevin Love's going to be either. Both teams are hurt right now. J.R. Smith also for the Cavs is beat up. The Cavs are adding some playmakers, and that's kind of scary because when they add more key pieces, I think this finals, caliber and talent-wise are going to be better both teams this time as well. But to me, I'm still taking the Warriors. They have a little bit of the bad taste in their mouth still from last year. I think they're going to – I mean, it's way too early to say that they're definitely going to play each other or anything.
I mean, let's be honest. Do you think they're going to play each other?
It's probably going to happen.
I'm saying that. I love Kyle Korver and the Cavaliers, too. He just makes threes.
Kyle Korver, Darren Williams, they're picking up Bogut, I think. So he's just going to tell them everything that the Warriors are going to do because he was on the Warriors last year.
Yeah. And then Kevin Love may or may not come back. Who knows?
Who knows? But they're going to have LeBron.
They're going to have LeBron, so they have to make the finals because LeBron just simply doesn't miss the finals.
And that's the rule.
That is the rule. Well, that's going to wrap it up for an interesting This Week in Sports. For Mike McClung, I'm Peter Lawani. Have a great day.
Lips as sweet as candy.